So I'm going to run this fun little game. It's a story game, so we're going to have to think of some words and it's going to tell us a story. So to play this game, you'll need to enter in some words. First, an object. You can hold and use a hammer. All right, hammer. All right, hammer. All right, another object, something you value, something you really like. You like to visit the...
Would you like to visit Queensland?
Queensland!
The adjective, a word you would use to describe someone.
Angry.
Angry. Angry. Enter a name, not yours. What's the name?
Hunter!
Hunter! Oh, Hunter! All right, let's read let's see what happens. All right. You're travelling through the state of Queensland and you come across an angry person. Before you can do anything, they pull out a hammer, threatening you. They say, give me all your iPads, or else. You say, who are you? My name is Hunter.
What do I do?
What did you want to do? Run or fight?
I killed him.
Do you want to run or fight?
Fight.
Fight. All right, fight. All right, fight.
I'll die.
You pull out your own hammer and say, you'll never take my iPad. You lunge forward and attack Hunter. Hunter is so surprised. They step back, tripping over a tree root. Hunter drops their hammer. You step on it and say, get out of here. I never want to see your face again. You are safe.
Yes! Can I do me?
You want to do one?
Yes.
All right.
You've just seen me run through a Madlib game that I created for my kids to play. Now I want to run through a tutorial on a couple of object-oriented programming concepts of classes and abstraction and how they relate to a simple program like that. So we're going to run through a quick tutorial on how to build the Madlib game that I've done, specifically related to not just how to build it, but how to build it referencing the terms used in C# of classes and abstraction. So we're in the first weeks of object-oriented development. You learn how to write down hello world, and it's in so many coding tutorials, and it's a great first step. And then you will learn what integers or different variables are to then use them in certain things. Like again, we can print that down as well, right line. We can print the number out. You'll define the number first. 10. Number is equal to 10. We can print the number out. We can actually go new number, int number. We can add added number is equal to number plus 2, and we can print out that. So you learn very quickly different variables, strings, other decimals, things like that, how to print them out. And those series of code is very simple. But the biggest, I think one of the biggest things when I started to learn object-oriented programming, and specifically in C#, is the use of different classes. So hence why I'm going to go through and have a look at how to implement, or what a class is and how to implement it. A class is the fundamental building block of object-oriented programming and C#. It is used to create objects. So a class, for example, is a class of people, and people have a name, or a person has a name, a height, different variables. And so once you create an object, this person, might be, each person is a specific object. And you can go further back from that, meaning vehicles, and each vehicle has an object, different objects of types. And so you can have new classes that are sedans or trucks or four-wheel cars or four-wheel vehicles or two-wheel vehicles, and so on and so forth. We're going to just look at how to implement a class and simple abstraction in C# without going too deep into the what and the how. But using the very basics, as I said at the start, this is a beginner, low intermediate, meant for beginner and low intermediate tutorial. And so we start here at our public main void, and we're going to create the program that we've just seen me work with my kids there, because I thought it was a bit of fun. So to do that, we started with some stories. So we're going to create a new file, and our class is going to be stories. So I'm going to create a new CS file, stories, and we're going to call it stories. And we're going to start with stories. Got the class, stories. And then for this particular story, for the type of stories that we're going to create, what are we going to have? We're going to have a mix of variables, and we're going to have a mix of functions. And a different function, or the different building blocks for our story. So let's start with the variables. So I have a public string, and it's going to be a villain name. We're going to also have a public string. What else do we have? We had a item or weapon. We have another public string. So in this case, they're going to be all items. Public string and a bunch of. We're also going to have a location, and we are also going to have a public string person adjective. Right, so what this means is that we are going, for all the stories that we're going to create or could create, we will have a villain name, we'll have a villain, also we'll have a public string hero name. So we're going to have a hero, a villain, a weapon, an item, and location and a person adjective. So each one of our stories is going to have one of those types of one of those in it. We can make many. All right, so when we call the story class, so actually just you know what, this is an abstract class. Abstract class stories, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. So come here, and then whenever we do the where I construct, when any type of story or stories class is called, we're going to have a series of questions that are going to be named, going to be asked, so that we can fill in these variables here. Now I've done this already, so I'm just going to fill in all of the items here. All right, I've added all of the information in, and so to collect all the information, to collect all the variables, we've just got a line for each. To play this game, you'll need to enter in some words. So that's just an explainer how what you're going to have to do in the game. First, an object. Someone can hold a. So let's say that's a weapon, but the person won't know it's a weapon. And that's the thing about Madlibs. You don't necessarily know, especially in coding. You're not going to know what you're writing, so it ends up being a kind of a funny story. So that will that'll fill in all of our variables, all of our strings in this case. So that's the constructor. So now we've got the constructor. What are going to be the main parts of every one of our stories? So in this case, we're going to have a few things. So we're going to have a public abstract. We're going to have the story itself. Oh, sorry, public abstract void. We're going to have the story itself. So because it's an abstract class, we don't actually have to have any body to the function. We're going to have a public abstract, a bool. We're going to have a choice in each one of our stories. We're also going to have because that's a bool, we're also going to have a void true choice. So something's going to happen if they have a true choice, and then public abstract void false choice. So whatever our story has, it's going to have a true story choice, true choice, and a false choice methods in them. So that's going to be the basis of our stories class. So meaning for every story that we create, we're going to have access to all of these variables, and whenever if we want to, we can use this constructor as well as any other constructor we have with our other classes or child classes. So additionally, these are the methods that have to be, because they're abstract, they have to be created in each of the classes that we do. So for our story, we're going to do a new file. We're going to do a walking story. When we're out for a walk, we're going to do a walking story. So this is going to be a new class. So this is our walking story class. All right, so for our walking story, we need it to inherit the abstract class stories. So class walking story is also going to inherit stories. What's this telling us? All right, does not implement inherited abstract member stories, false choice, true choice, so on and so forth. So we actually need it to inherit all of those functions. But first, we're going to public walking story. We're going to do a constructor for the walking story. And what we have to do as well is we also want to call the base, and this is what this term means, base, a base. Oh, there, and then base. Yeah. So we also want it to call the base constructor. So when we call the walking story constructor, we want to call the base constructor, which is the story. So that means it'll grab all of this, it'll run all of this code as well. So we're going to leave that for now. We're going to implement. So what do we need to implement? We need to implement true choice, false choice, choice, and the story. So let's start off with the story. Public void story. Let's just put them all here for now. Public bool choice. Yep, so we've got our choice. We need to return something here. And then public void true choice. Yep. And then public void false choice. Now, there's something missing for all of these. Does not implement the inherited class. We need to override each one of these. Override. That means it's going to override each one of the. Oh, Sorry, it's in the wrong location. Override. So if we just do a return true, there you can see there's no errors. There's no errors up here. So now we can just fill in all the details of what we actually want to do. So we've overridden the story function here. So we actually need to now, well, what does that story entail? So we've got all of our information here. We've gathered all the information by implementing the base during the constructor. Now we can use all of those variables. And again, I've got all this story written down already, so I will pull that in. Now, for our story, you're traveling through using the location. You come across a person adjective, so using the adjective to describe the person. Before you can do anything, they pull out a weapon. So it's got a weapon there, threatening you. I've got some pauses for dramatic effect. I've got another one here. Sleep. 5,000. Just during the story for dramatic effect there. All right, so we've now got a choice down here as well. So my name is. So that's one part of the story. And then we now want the choice part of the story. So what's the choice part of the story going to be? So they've just met, like they've come across a person in their travels. They're now going to have to choose to run or fight. So to implement that, we can add more information to this function here, this choice option. All right, so we've got our choice. We've got the choice just as a string, and then while the choice is not run and is not fight, we're going to repeat the saying, what did you want to do, run or fight? So it's requiring the user to write in run or fight. It doesn't matter what case. There's not too much error handling here. It'll just repeat looping until you put in the exact run or fight option, and then it's got returning true if it's run, else if it's returned false. So that's captured through the loop here and the if statement. So we're either going to get run, so we're running if it's true, it's returning false otherwise. All right, so now we've got to write our true choice and false choice parts of the story. All right, so we have our choices now for if it's true or false. So if it's true, you turn to run, which is running up here, run. If it's true, you turn to run. I'm going to say rather than you can run and get away, you don't get away. As you stop, you lose or you drop your items. As you stop to pick them up, the villain catches you and whips around your head, whips you across the head with their weapon. You are knocked out, and it just goes to the end. And then if you stay and fight, you actually win the battle. All right, so it's just a simple implementation. Now every time we want to call this this class, or when we call this class to create an object, we want to do a few things. We want to read out the start of the story. So we want to go story, and it returns a void. We also want to return the choice. Then we've got a choice. So if the choice is equal to true, we want to go. We want to do the true choice part of the story. So else we got if choice equals true choice, else we're going to run with false choice. False choice. I'm just going to run the false choice part of the story. So it's going to check once if choice is true, and then it will give you false choice. If it's true, it will give you the true choice part of the story, else it will give you the false choice part of the story. All right, so to actually run that, all we have to do is create a new walking story. Notice how we don't have to call the story at all, it's just a walking story. We can run that. All right, as you can see down here, to play this game, you'll need to enter in some words. First, an object, someone can hold a hammer. That's right, hammer. Another object, something you value, coins. You like to visit the beach. A word you would use to describe someone. Funny. Enter a name. El Salvador. And then it gives you the story. You're traveling through the beach and you come across a funny person. Before you can do anything, they pull out a hammer threatening you. They say, give me all your coins or else. You say, who are you? My name is El Salvador. What did you want to do? Run or fight? All right, let's try and run. You turn to run, but you drop your coins. As you stop to pick them up, El Salvador catches you and whips you across the head with their hammer. You are knocked out. The end. All right, so as you can see, this is a very simple way of highlighting where each of the variables you've entered in are throughout the story. Now this, I believe the right line or text is a good way of highlighting or learning how to program, because this text can be any type of function, and everything before it can be all different types of things that happen on your computer or on the cloud or on the internet, requests that come in and returns, and these are the functions. These are the outputs that happen, or the parts of the program. If this happens, then do this. So we've got true and falses. We've got loops. We've got some variables and things like that. So it's a good way of kind of describing or laying out how these programs work. And specifically in this case, we've got the how classes and abstractions work. So we've got our stories class, which has a few different functions that need to be implemented. And in one of our stories, we have a story, we've got a choice, we've got a true choice and a false choice. So if that's the basis of every story that we can create many of these stories, and they'll all have those options. And we can create many fun games. And as you saw from the start of this, the kids loved it, and you could create different stories, and you could expand that out to create even like larger programs and things like that. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. It made sense, and it's not too long. Thank you for an awesome semester with object-oriented development. I feel like I've learned a lot. I'm hoping to take it even further.